Revenge films.
My family consists of me, my husband, and our child. The three of us. Until I gave birth, I was also working. But since I had our child, I've been on leave. And so my husband said,
"If you stop working, there'll be less income for the family. I'll take care of the family budget for you."
I thought that was nice of him, to be honest. But ultimately, this led him to say something unbelievable.
"Do you must with this for food?"
The food bill? This is only $50. By the month, no less, and not by the week? That's not possible.
It's not impossible. When I was still single, even with $30 a month, I got through the month very easily. To say it can't be done shows your lack of strength. You're a housewife now, so manage it, or else.
But how? $50 per month would make it impossible for me to use more than $10 per week. I tried to persuade him that I couldn't do that after, but in the end, he never even gave me an extra penny. Plus, he took charge of my bank book and made measures so that I really couldn't spend any more than $50 a month. Furthermore, even though he only gave me $50, he would say,
"The hell? That's it? So you can only serve us this garbage, huh?"
"Don't blame me! You're the one who gave me just the $50 for food! We've only got $10 for the weekly budget!"
No excuses! That's only because your creativity rivals that of a shrimp! Someone skilled at cutting costs can manage fine with this money! Ridiculous! The fact that you can't do better than me, you're not a housewife!
With all his stubbornness, he still continuously complained to me thereafter. Sometimes he would even say,
"I'd like some steak today!"
"I can't! Do you know any idea how much that would cost?"
"You're not managing anything properly! That's why!"
I was getting more stressed by the day with this problem. Listen, isn't the fact that you could survive with just $30 a month because you kept on eating fast food? Plus, you were living alone. So easy as pie, huh?
Nope! I was eating different things every day! Also, whether it was one person or two, it doesn't matter! I'd make do either way! You're just coming up with excuses because you don't want to admit you can't do this!
His words eventually took a toll, and I started to wonder if I actually was the one to blame. He could do it, but I can't. And I'm ashamed of that. So I did my best to manage the money. But even though I could make them what they wanted, there still wasn't enough for me. As a result, I naturally became thinner. I wasn't getting enough to eat, and less nutrition led me to become more tired frequently. But he is not helping me at all with raising our child. Even so...
God damn it! You're the housewife! It's obvious that rooms around the house should always be spotless, huh? Don't put the kids' toys away in the living room! Ha! You really can't do anything right, can you?
That wasn't all.
Your cooking these days is really bland and tasteless, so I'm eating out.
He said the stress of him not eating proper good food caused him to smoke more cigarettes a day. In short, my husband gave me a budget way too small for food, thinking I could manage. I showed him the receipts. I showed him the remaining budget. No matter how hard I tried to cut costs, he'd boast that it could be done. Our child was still young, but I could sense the amount of the nutrition would be going downhill soon. My mental state couldn't handle it any further, and I just broke down in front of my child. In that moment, by coincidence, my mother-in-law called. My child answered it with my permission and said,
"Hello? Granny?"
As they talked, it eventually came to,
"Mom is crying. There's no food, and she's crying."
My surprised mother-in-law told her to put me on. I tried my darndest to dry my tears before I spoke. "What do you mean you have no food? Are you broke?" That moment was the last straw, and I just let all of my bottled up feelings spill all over her. Bless the poor soul. "What in the world? Hang tight, I'm on my way." She hung up with that. It takes 2 hours by train to get to my in-laws' home, so it's not a distance we can cover very frequently. But she always stopped by during Thanksgiving or the New Year, and she was a wonderful mother-in-law to me. After I felt relieved with all of the crying, and then I firmly realized that my mother-in-law was coming. In a panic, I tried calling her, but no answer. Maybe she was already on her way? Not to mention my husband was coming home soon. So I tried to think of something to make with what was in the fridge. He came home first. He barely glanced at the food I'd prepared and said,
This makes me lose my appetite. This looks terrible. Don't you think you should learn more about how to cook?
As he was saying so, she came busting in without even ringing the doorbell. What the hell did you just say?
Mom, what are you doing here?
Never mind that. My granddaughter told me. But what's all this about not having enough food? Do not tell me you're in debt, or I swear to God.
Huh? On the contrary, I'm trying to cut costs. This useless wife of mine can't even do that. Cooking mediocre meals, telling me there's too little money. She's a housewife, they say, but poor little me having to put up with her bullshit.
Cut costs? On what exactly?
On food.
Fiona, dear, are you trying to cut costs? And you said that my beautiful granddaughter's only eating bread these days? Will set the monthly food budget at $50, and my incompetence makes that way too little. $50? I hope you mean the weekly budget. You're a family of 3.
What are you saying now, Mom? I managed living off of $30 a month on food when I was living alone, you know? She's just a failure as a housewife.
Those words had barely left his mouth when my mother-in-law, trembling with fury, exploded. The hell are you saying? The reason why you could survive on $30 was because I was sending you my cooking every goddamn month! She punched him as she said so, and to my surprise, he went sprawling. For your information, my mother-in-law is a woman with experience in boxing. She may be thin, but damn, she's ripped too. My husband, who flew to the other side of the table, got up with watery eyes.
That hurt! Goddamn, Mom! What'd you do that for?
For every goddamn reason in existence! Look at Fiona, so thin and frail for crying out loud! Failure as a housewife? No, you're a failure as a husband and father! She then went on to take away his wallet and his bank book and checked them both. You said you were cutting down costs, but can you explain this? Lo and behold, in his wallet were statements of money withdrawn from consumer finance and of credit card bills for what he spent on his hobbies. This really caused my blood to boil. I don't believe you! You said all those things to me and you had the audacity to go into debt and waste money with credit?
I pay everything out of my own money, so you're in no position to say that!
Upon that statement, something inside me just snapped. I'm sorry, but I believe I can't go on living with you as a married couple. I want a divorce. I agree! Indeed, it's definitely for the best to break ties with this stupid head. I'm gonna tell his father everything once I get home.
Huh? Hang on a sec! To Dad? And you wait too, Fiona! You had to be kidding me!
Like hell I am! I'm sorry, but from now on, we're gonna communicate only through our lawyers. I'm gonna severely demand for compensation.
Just wait a sec!
I was set on a divorce, and my mother-in-law was a sweetheart to the very end. I'm so sorry for my idiot son. I'm gonna drag his sorry ass back home.
No! Please!
Too bad. We're going. My husband was taken away, crying. Oh, that's right. His father's a former professional boxer, and his family runs a gym back in their town. As that memory came back to me, I now remembered why he cried. My husband, after coming home, was beaten to the point of falling unconscious. He was forced to leave his office job, and my mother-in-law told me they were going to educate him back from square one. Until you're working and become independent again, we'll cover the rent of that apartment of yours. So rest assured, honey, I know this will never be enough, but my husband and I are truly sorry. Later, my ex's compensation came flooding in, and until I found a new job, I spent some quality time together with my daughter. As for Will himself, he's currently working at the gym to pay his debts to me. But he was always getting beat against regular trainees. Tears became common for him. Good friggin' riddance, haha. My name is May. I have a boyfriend who I've been dating for 1 year, Curtis. He's a wonderful person who cares for me a lot. And a while back, he proposed to me in a restaurant he made a reservation for.
Please marry me, May. I love you.
I'm so happy! Of course, yes! I love you too, Mr. Curtis. I was so happy for his proposal that I told all of my friends.
Congratulations, May! Please become happy.
Yes! Thanks! However, not even a week after the proposal, I received a call from Mr. Curtis.
May, help me!
What happened?
I don't know what to do. I'm panicking.
Calm down. What happened?
I caused an accident and ran over a person. But I'm not in any insurance, so I have to pay a great sum of money.
Great sum? About how much?
To settle the case, I need $10,000. Help me, May! I can only rely on you. But I don't have any savings, so my life will be over if I don't do anything. I can't marry May either.
Okay, I'll try to do something about it too. Please give me some time. So don't give up yet.
Sorry, May.
But can I ask one thing? It's true, right? You're not lying, right?
Of course! I'd never lie to you!
Okay, just give me a moment. Then I withdrew about $3,000 from my account, which I've been steadily accumulating in case something happened to me for many years. What should I do? It's not enough. So I decided to ask my father for advice. Dad, my fiancé got in an accident and I want to help him somehow. Please, I need your help. Then, my dad willingly gave me the $7,000 that I needed.
Make sure to save your fiancé.
Thanks, Dad. After that, holding the $10K, I called my fiancé. Mr. Curtis, I have the $10K. Where should I take it?
The other person is super angry and wants to hand me over to the police right away. I don't have time to meet you, so deposit the money to account I'm gonna tell you right away.
Okay. Then, I transferred the money from a nearby ATM to his account. But after 10 to 15 minutes, I received no contact from Mr. Curtis. Was he taken by the police? I became so worried, so I went to a nearby police station to learn about the situation. However, they told me that they haven't received a case like that in any of the nearby police stations. And several days passed by without me being able to contact him. At first, I thought something happened to him, so I was worried about him. But one day, I got some information from my friend.
I heard that you haven't been able to contact Mr. Curtis, your fiancé.
Yeah, I'm so worried.
Actually, I heard some bad rumors about that.
Bad rumors?
Yeah. Do you remember Jasmine, who went to the same university as us?
Huh? Yeah, but I've only heard bad things about her.
Apparently, the day he got in an accident and you transferred him money, Jasmine and Curtis were going on a trip somewhere with his car.
What? He betrayed me? What about the money? He said he got in an accident.
Were you tricked? They tricked you into giving them the money. Another girl said she saw them carrying a large bag out of the ATM as well.
Oh no. They planned this all along to deceive me? I can't forgive them. I'm going to find them at all costs. I told my dad what happened as well. Then, he became furious by how they stole money from me, but also by how they hurt me. Using everything he had, my dad began to look for Curtis's whereabouts.
Find him at all cost! He hurt my precious daughter! He'll have to pay for this! Yes! We'll definitely find him!
And then, in less than 1 week, they found Curtis's apartment. Curtis and Jasmine, of all things, had signed a contract for a luxury apartment with the money they had taken from me, and they were living together. I waited in the parking lot of their apartment until they returned to their home. They returned, riding in their convertible. She was so dumb. She had no idea she was being deceived by us. After you said, "Help me," she gave you the 10K right away.
True. After I proposed to her, she believed in everything that I said. Maybe we could have gotten more out of her.
Oh no, such a waste. We're not too late yet. Why don't we try to get more out of her? She easily got 10 grand. Her parents must be rich. Right when they were discussing such matters, tough-looking guys began to surround them. What is this? Think of the trouble you'll cause people at this time of night. Eek! Who are you guys? They're my dad's men. I have business with you too, but first, I need to talk to Mr. Curtis.
May? Why are you here?
That's my line. Why are you here? What happened to the accident? I didn't imagine losing contact with you after giving you the 10K. You and Jasmine got together to get money out of me, right?
No, that's not it. Please listen to me.
I could listen to you, but I don't know if my dad will. You took a gang's money and ran away. I think you need to take some kind of responsibility for that.
Gang?
Yeah, but my dad told me to hide this fact so I won't have trouble living my daily life. When the accident happened, my dad prepared the money right away and told me to save my fiancé right away. But then, you betrayed me and ran away with Jasmine. You betrayed me. But for you to trample on my dad's feelings? I can't forgive you. Then, my dad's henchman made room, and my dad, who was at the back, appeared in front of Jasmine and Curtis.
Was it you two who hurt my daughter and threw her away like a dirty rag?
I'm not part of this. He just told me we might be able to get lots of money if things went right.
What are you saying? Are you trying to run away? Shut up! To me, both of you are equally guilty. I demand you get back the money. Hurry up and bring the $10,000. I don't have the money. How dare you see you kid? Are you looking down on this? Huh? I'm not. But we already used most of it. I see. You can't just take something that belongs to someone else and not return it, right? What do you want to do, May? Get your fiancé and a student went to the same school, right? Should we forgive them? May! I'm sorry! I'll never cheat on you again, so please help me!
Senpai, please help me! I just got carried away a little bit. He's no longer my fiancé, and I don't care about this woman either. I just want them to return my money.
That's what she says, but what should we do?
After my dad said that, the two fainted from fear of not knowing what will happen to them. After that, in addition to the money they stole, they also had to pay for the compensation for the trouble they caused me and my father, making their total payment equal more than 10K. As for Jasmine, she began to work at the store of my dad's acquaintance, a place where she can make lots of money. So she's working hard there. Of course, their wage is collected by my dad's henchmen, so our money is being returned steadily. At each end of the month, Jasmine would plead, "I'm sorry! Please forgive me!" to my dad's henchmen. But she deserves it. She should pay back for all the trouble she caused by working hard. As for Curtis, he seemed to have been taken to a clinical trial research center that was said to be dangerous.
No! Please save me, May!
He seems to be screaming like that every day. But I have no business with him, and I don't care about what happens to him. It was a huge mistake on their part to not realize that my dad was not normal. But for people like them who trample on other people's feelings, they deserve their punishment. My name is Amy. Several years ago, during the holidays in May, my then boyfriend and I decided to visit each other's houses. But it wasn't for a marriage proposal. Since we were still college students, and we've only dated for about a year, it was more of introducing each other to our parents. At that time, we had a Japanese mixed breed dog, but since he was old, he spends his days by either slowly walking around the house or by sleeping on the porch. Since we had about an hour before my parents would come back home, I decided to let my boyfriend relax in the living room. Then, since my dog loves people, he came to the living room to greet my boyfriend.
Huh! Yeah, the dog!
Yeah, he's old though. I was thinking, does he like dogs? Or will he pet him? But he suddenly grabbed my dog, flipped him, raised him above his head, and stomped his feet onto my dog's stomach. Startled, I yelled out, "What are you doing?"
Dogs have to be taught who's superior. Look at him. Since he knows that I'm the superior one, he's being calm now.
Saying that, he continued to stomp on my dog's stomach. My dad will do something similar, but he'd do it much more gently. More like petting him with his feet. My dog liked that, so he'd always wag his tail happily when my dad does that. But what my boyfriend was doing was nowhere close to that. And he even had his slipper on. It seemed like he stomped through my dog's stomach if he stomped on him even a little harder. Please stop! He's not being obedient because you're superior. He's usually calm. He's already old too. Stop abusing him!
I'm just teaching him who's the master here.
Irritated by his attitude, I yelled, "The master is my dad, not you!" Then my dog, from the pain from a stranger, made a whimpering sound
What are you whimpering for? You damn dog!
and kicked my dog hard. Then, my dog cried. What are you doing? Are you out of your mind?
What are you saying? He tried to defy a human, so I'm trying to discipline him.
That's because you're treating him terribly. This is just absurd. Leave already!
Huh? What do you think I came here for?
I was out of my mind to introduce a guy like you. I'm breaking up with you, so go home now.
Huh? Don't mess with me! Why does it end up like this just because of a dog?
For you, he might just be a dog, but for me, he's part of my family. I can't possibly introduce someone who stomped on my family to my parents. So I forcibly made him go home. I went back home and hugged my dog, who still seemed to be terrified. Are you okay? Oh, it must have hurt. I checked if my dog was okay, and took him to the vet just in case. Fortunately, there was nothing wrong with him, so I was relieved. To my parents, I just told them that he suddenly remembered other plans and went home. But because of today's incident, I was totally over him. I didn't think he was that kind of person. Since then, he'd tried to contact me several times, but I'm breaking up with you. I never want to see you again. After saying that, I never picked up his calls. Then, he began to spread bad rumors about me at school. He said things like, I'm a lousy woman who gives you the impression that she's interested in you, but dumps you when she gets tired of you. Or I made him pay for many of my things, but after finding out that he was low on cash, I dumped him. Anyhow, he spread so many bad rumors about me, I was given cold looks at school. My close friends knew that I doted on my dog, and knew about the horrible treatment he gave my dog, so... What is up with him? He's the one at fault, but he's making it your fault. I can't believe him. It's okay. Since my friends are believing in me, I'm fine. Although, I didn't feel happy about the situation. There was no way I'd go around explaining the situation to every single person, and since I didn't have evidence either, I decided to let time heal the situation. But when he'd see me, he tried to take revenge on me and say,
"Oh look, a wicked woman is walking! To look down on men? She's such a scum!"
It was pretty painful to be looked at coldly by so many people. Then, a guy suddenly came up to me.
"Are you Miss Amy?"
Yes, you're right.
I keep hearing that you're going around playing with guys.
Yeah, it seems.
But I heard some girls desperately claiming that the person at fault is the guy. So I was wondering which is true.
I was genuinely really happy to hear that my friends were doing their best to try to clarify the situation. So I told him the truth of what actually happened, and how he began to harass me because of that.
That is a terrible story.
Are you going to believe me?
Well, to have friends that try so hard to clear you of false accusations, you can't be a bad person. After hearing from you, it became more clear.
Because of this, I began to talk with Mr. John more. Mr. John liked dogs, and he apparently had 2 small dogs at home.
Can I go see your dog one day?
Of course! I kept quiet about what happened to my parents, but I told them that I no longer had feelings for my ex, and that my friend was going to come over to see our dog. Hearing that my friend is a dog lover, my dad welcomed him with a warm attitude. As for my dog, after smelling Mr. John, he seemed to like him and followed Mr. John everywhere he went. In the meantime, at school, many rumors were going around, but Mr. John explained my situation to many people, so by the time I noticed, the rumors were fading. As for us, we gradually changed from friends to lovers. Although my ex was still going around spreading bad rumors about me, since my friends and Mr. John went around explaining to people, more people began to believe that my ex is actually the one at fault. Shortly after, I heard that my ex was not coming to school. Apparently, he went to his cousin's house, and the cousin had a dog, a Doberman. I guess he was still mad about what happened between us. He did the same thing to what he did to my dog while the cousin was preparing drinks, and stomped on the Doberman. But then, furious by his actions, the dog bit my ex's foot quite hard. Apparently, he cried, "Get!" in a screeching voice. It's obvious that the dog would get mad. My dog didn't bite him since he's a calm dog. And for him to stomp on a Doberman, it's almost an act of suicide. Obviously, the cousin became furious and yelled,
"What are you doing to my dog?"
to my ex, who was on the floor crying. It seems that the wife of the cousin called the ambulance right away, so the injury wasn't that serious. But since he was the one who abused the dog first, apparently, he was sued. Since he couldn't walk, he took classes online for a while. But because of this incident, he became traumatized by dogs. So every time he'd see any kind of dog out on the streets,
"Don't come close to me!"
he'd be petrified in terror. He totally deserves it. With this incident and my past experience, which was spread by my friends, he was the one to be looked at with cold eyes at school. Although he went around spreading bad rumors about his ex, he was actually dumped because he abused her dog. That's terrible! He's such a scumbag to abuse animals! With so much criticism going around, he couldn't come to school anymore, so apparently he repeated a school year. As for Mr. John and I, we continued dating, and I was introduced to his parents one day. His 2 dogs were really cute and soothing. As for Mr. John's parents as well, "Oh, you are a very fine lady. Please take care of us." She greeted me very nicely. After that, I married Mr. John, and we even had children. My dog passed away shortly after we got married and had children, though. He left for heaven happily surrounded by my family, Mr. John, and our children until the very end. I think now, he's watching over us from heaven.
My name is Emily. Just an ordinary student. I'm just a bit introverted though, and I used to be alone at school. My mother also used to be very sick, and she would be in and out of the hospital a lot. I knew she could just be back in the hospital any time. I would usually take care of the house chores. Hey Mom, are you doing all right? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry for all the trouble. I have an older brother, Kevin, but he does nothing to help. Even though he knows about Mom's condition, he just plays around. Not just that, he would steal my allowance and use up my money.
Hey, you're not gonna use that money anyways, aren't you? Give it to me!
I could never call him a good brother, and he was a chaotic mess in the house. My dad would yell at him every day, and the mood in our house was always terrible. My daily routine of going to school and doing the chores made me very busy. I never participated in any after-school activities. When my mom was hospitalized, I would also make trips to the hospital to check up on her. Soon, I was in my last year of high school. I thought to myself, moving on to university would be unrealistic, and I began job hunting. But, man, I can't seem to find a good job opportunity. As I only had a high school educational degree, I couldn't find a job post that fit my requirements. What should I do? This brother, continuing to not care for his family at all, kept thinking I was just in my own bedroom, not working. Oblivious to my hard work, he started scolding me.
Jeez, why don't you start working? Don't just mope around in the house.
What? I explained to him I was working from home, but he just didn't seem to understand. He scoffed. I bet you're just making pennies and made me do all of the house chores. He kept on yelling at me to get a job and get out of the house. But here's the big plot twist. This isn't even his house. I was appalled about how little he knew about his own family.
Hurry up and get a job, pack your things, and get out of this house!
Okay, fine. What are you gonna do, big brother?
Well, I'll keep living in this home. I'm the eldest in the house after all.
Listening to this nonsense, my anger was at its peak by now. I spent a month preparing for a plan I came up with. a new place to live, cleaning up my own belongings, and borrowing a shed. I was busy with my own work too. I didn't want to be around this stupid brother any longer.
Well, hey, you look busy recently. Are you finally in the mood to find a job?
Yeah, something like that.
Huh. Well, I guess Mom and Dad could finally get some rest up in heaven then.
Oh, by the way, what do you do for a job?
I'm a musician.
He says that, but I swear he's just a wannabe musician. I'm sure he's not making any money. Keeping my composure, I continued to move my plans forward behind his back. Soon, all that was left was to move out while he was gone. Then one day... Huh? Vacation?
Yeah, with my girlfriend. I won't be home for 2 days.
This is great, I thought to myself. When my stupid big brother was away, I packed all the things I had bought to my new place. I called for a cleaning company, threw away anything and everything that looked like trash, and I left the house the day before he came home. Everything settled. I started my new life and my new place. Just thinking about how I don't have to take care of my brother anymore, it felt so liberating. The next day, I received a very angry phone call from my brother.
Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?
He said when he came home from his trip, the house was empty, and the water, gas, and electricity had been stopped. What are you talking about? Of course I stopped them. I was paying for all of it. What was he thinking? Who did he think was paying for these bills? He never paid for anything in the house, but he kept yelling and that I had no right to take everything. To that, I responded, "Nope, they're all mine."
You liar! You've been cooped up in your room doing nothing! There's no way you'd have that much money!
I then finally explained to him in detail what I did as a job, that I was working as a programmer. I had been saving up and how I had changed the ownership of the house to myself when we did the big renovation. Hearing this, my brother was mumbling, "There's no way," on the phone line. I almost laughed. Oh, by the way, I sold the land there, so I'm sure the wreckers will be there any minute.
What did you say? Hey, where the hell are you right now?
Of course I didn't tell him. If I did, I'm sure he would have come barging in and I did not want that to happen. I mean, I did get my new place in an area quite far away from home, so I was sure I wouldn't bump into him.
Hello, wreckers here. I received a call to demolish this house.
From the other side of the phone, I heard other people's voices, so I imagined the wreckers had arrived. To my brother, panicking and yelling, "What am I supposed to do from now on?" I said, "You're a musician, right? Why don't you move out too and get your own place with what you've earned?" He whined about how that's impossible, but it's on him that he's been playing around while nagging me to work. I couldn't care less about this brother, who's only been thinking and acting for himself, and never looked back on his family. Coldly, I let out my final words to him. I hope you can find a new place to live soon. Bye-bye!
You little... Hold on! Wait!
He was the most panicked when I said this, and I heard continuous yelling in the background. Sick of hearing his voice, I ended the call and blocked his number. To think I wouldn't have to bother dealing with this brother anymore. My body felt so light. Dad, Mom, look over me from heaven, Kay? I prayed to my parents. There's the altar that I had brought from my old place. A few years later, I was building up my career as a freelance engineer. My monthly pay kept increasing, and I was getting more and more jobs. My brother, on the other hand, this isn't something I heard from him directly, but apparently he punched this poor wrecker staff and got arrested for inflicting injury. Honestly, it feels like karma came around to slap his ass, and I wanted to say, "In your face," to him. Oh, by the way, he tried to contact me a number of times, but I never met him afterwards. His girlfriend dumped him, and he's all alone.
That day, I was out camping with a friend. This was a trip we planned for a while now. This dude, Caleb, is a good friend of mine, and we shared the same hobby, fishing. When our college lecture ended in the morning, we would often go out to fish in the afternoon.
Hey, this place is great!
I used to come here with my dad. It's not a famous fishing spot or anything, but we used to catch big ones.
Man, I'm excited now!
As we were chatting casually, suddenly a police car came over and stopped in front of us.
Huh? What are you all doing? You're not one of the locals here, aren't you?
Yes, sir. We came here to fish.
Darn you. Youngins are so annoying. Shoot! Go home!
Police officer shouted at us just like that and ran off in his police car.
Whoa! What was that? That was the police, right?
Yeah, that was kind of freaky. That interruption put us in an awkward mood for a while, but once we arrived at our fishing spot, we enjoyed it to the fullest.
Man, black basses sure are strong. Their pulls are insane.
Fishing is so much fun. So glad we came. It soon became quite dark, so we decided to go back to where our tent was and cooked ourselves a nice camp meal.
Man, this is delicious.
Right? My dad taught me how to make this when we went out camping. It's super quick and easy to make.
Dang, you have such an awesome dad.
Yeah, when we went to the riverside to fish, he would just prepare what he fished right then and there.
Man, my dad's an indoor guy through and through.
Hey, you can join us sometime. I'm sure my dad will be cool about you joining.
Really? Yeah, I'd love to.
As we enjoyed our camp meal, we talked about our favorite camping episode, fishing stories, some silly day-to-day stories, and laughed through the night. I've been out camping with my dad a lot, but this was the first time with a friend. So Caleb and I were really excited about this. So much, we couldn't go to sleep for a while. It was just like those nights during school trips. Everyone being super excited about this big sleepover, and not being able to sleep. Hey, I can't seem to get to sleep. Do you want to take a walk to get something to drink? I think there was a vending machine close by. Come on, I'll pay for your drink too. Let's go. We left our tent and made our way to the nearest vending machine.
But like, do you remember that officer from earlier? He really bugged me.
I know, right? But he is an officer, so we can't really say anything back to him.
I guess so. I just hope I never see him again.
As we walked through the night forest, we found the vending machine. Oh, there it is. What do you want?
I might just get some Coke.
We continued chatting for a while in front of the vending machine. There was no one in sight around us, and it was very quiet. Suddenly, a vehicle came and parked right in front of us.
Hey, isn't that car the police car from...
Caleb said, and I had a very bad feeling about this. And that feeling was right.
Hey, you two. You were trying to buy some cigarettes, weren't you?
No, we weren't. We were just trying to buy drinks.
Wait, stop it with those obvious lies. You were trying to buy those cigarettes right next to the drinks, eh? Shut up and follow me to the station. Oh yeah, I need to contact your parents, don't I? I need to call your school too.
Hey, hold on. We haven't done...
Shut it! Are you trying to disobey us? The police?
Even though it was all a misunderstanding, Caleb and I were very shaken by him saying he'll tell our parents and the school, especially Caleb, as he stood out in his studies, and he was promised an excellent future after graduation. But this was a time before TASPOs, age-checking cards for buying cigarettes from vending machines. Anyone could buy cigarettes these days. Police were so scary, it was almost like they were gang members.
Well, if you really want to be left off the hook this time, why don't you get down on your knees and beg? Say, I'm so very sorry.
Huh? What did you say? But both Caleb and I were terrified of this police officer. We slowly looked at each other and went down on our knees. Then the police officer said,
Oh, see? They really were trying to buy cigarettes.
He wouldn't believe us anyways, even if we said that wasn't true. So angry with myself. However, another voice chimed in. What are you doing? Caleb and I looked up to see a man we did not recognize.
Eh? What's up with you? We're busy right now. Go home.
Police replied, but this man ignored them and walked up to us. He crouched down to meet our eyes and said, Did you do something so bad that you have to be like this in the middle of the night? No, sir. We didn't do anything. The officers just...
Eh? What are you on about? You were trying to buy some cigarettes, weren't you? And you just admitted that.
This man listening to our conversation said, well, you have anything that can prove your identity? Any cards? No, not now. But we have them back in our tents. It's late and we thought we weren't going to be out for long, so we kind of just left most of our stuff there. Oh, but we have enough money to buy drinks. I was planning to buy 2 drinks, so I've got $3 on me. I gave this man the $3 I had in my pocket. Well now, with just $3 in their pockets, do you really think he was trying to buy some cigarettes? There aren't any cigarettes you could buy with this money.
He's obviously had an extra cash in his pockets or something.
We're not! Caleb and I quickly turned our pockets inside out to show them we didn't own any money. They sure don't seem to carry any cash. Then what's this I'm seeing, eh? Didn't these boys say from the start that they were just trying to buy some drinks?
Yes, we did. We said that. Shut it, you brats. It's your fault that we got confused. Come on, let's just go.
As the police tried to leave with no apologies. Huh? Where are you folk trying to go? I never said you were dismissed.
Huh? What's that? Are you trying to pick a fight with us? We're police officers, can't you see? Or are your eyes rotten? Rotten! He can't even see our police car!
You two, how long have you been assigned this area?
What are you talking about? It's been half the year. What you gonna do? Call for help?
No, I'm not calling for help. I'm calling a friend. This guy just picked up his phone and started calling someone.
What are you doing, dude? Are you calling your friend crying for help? What a loser.
The 2 officers continued to laugh at this man. Time passed, and soon one car pulled up near us. And the moment the officers took a look at the man who came out of the car, they instantly turned pale.
Chief Officer, sir! What's he doing here? Did this dude call him? What the hell are you guys talking about? This man here is the previous chief officer! Wait, this dude? The previous chief officer? That's right!
The guy then explained to this chief officer how these 2 policemen were outright threatening us. The chief officer's face turned red with anger and cried,
Threatening and bullying civilians? Are you out of your mind? Shame on you! Shame on you!
He took the 2 back to the station. The ones left were the former officer, Caleb, and I. Thank you so much, sir. Nah, I just made a quick phone call, that's it. Let me buy you some drinks. I caused a bit of trouble for you two, didn't I? He bought the 2 of us some juice and went home just like that. We went back to our tent, chatted for a while again, went fishing early in the morning, and went back home. 2 years passed. Both Caleb and I had graduated from college, so we decided to visit the city again.
We might just bump into the same officer again?
I'm sure we don't want to, but I guess we won't get caught for trying to buy cigarettes anymore. We've grown up, and we're legally allowed to smoke now. I mean, we don't, but we probably can prove our age even if we get ID. As we strolled down to the camping area, we found the vending machine where all the drama took place. We decided to take a look, and someone was there to buy some cigarettes.
Are you here to buy one too?
No.
Okay. 2 years ago, actually, there was a police officer who was threatening a minor right here. But their boss found out, got super angry about it, and fired both of them. I can't believe a police officer would do something like that to a poor civilian, to a kid.
While listening to that story, Caleb and I looked at each other and laughed. At least now we know we'll never meet that police officer again. We're able to enjoy our fishing time to the fullest.
My name is Teresa Smith, 45 years old. This is a story that happened about 2 years ago when my husband of more than a decade suddenly wanted to divorce me. This happened right after our eldest daughter became a middle schooler. Although my husband was coming home late for about half a month, because apparently he had to work overtime, he came home early that day. "Oh, so you're home early today?" As I said that, my husband made a solemn face.
Actually, I have something to tell you. Where are the kids?
That's what he said. The kids are at cram school right now, so they'll be home soon. What's the matter?
Okay. I want to discuss something with you before they come home, so please, come over here.
Thinking this must be something serious, I stopped washing the dishes and sat in the seat that he had prepared for me. "So, what's the matter?" As I asked him nervously, he replied,
I want a divorce.
That's what he said. I couldn't close my mouth from the shock.
To be honest, I endured it until our kids were old enough. Our daughter's in middle school already, so it should be okay, right?
Endured? Why are you acting like you're a victim?
I actually fell in love with another person.
Well, I did imagine that that was the case, but I want to say I'm sorry to the affair partner. My husband was a person who'd make his wife do all the chores and even make her take care of his parents. I won't say that he's verbally abusive, but he did have the potential of doing so.
But since it's kind of sudden, instead of property division, I plan on giving you and our children all of my assets. Please accept that as my consolation money.
No. Why are you deciding everything on your own? You're not the judge here. And besides, do you realize how much money you have? It's not enough to pay for the consolation fee.
I'm going to leave behind everything to you, and I'll leave this house as well.
When he said that, wait a moment, this is your house! I raised my voice.
I'm saying that I'll give you everything. Please accept it.
When I heard that, I snapped. Why do I have to live with your parents when we're going to divorce? And plus, the reason why we began to fight more was because of your parents. Your parents said,
I want to live with you guys no matter what. We'll help with the chores, too. Miss Teresa can live with ease that way, too, right?
she was so persistent. So in the end, we decided to live together. But with ease. She did nothing. All she did was complain. It was better if she wasn't there to begin with.
We did live alone together right after we got married. I want to live alone with my girlfriend and enjoy our time together.
Stop with your nonsense. I can't understand you at all. Anyways, we're leaving this house.
What's with that? Who will take care of my parents? That's so irresponsible. You said they can live together with us, right? Take responsibility on what you said until the end.
For the first time in my life, I wanted to kill someone. This was my husband's reasoning. My parents love their grandchildren so much, it's sad if they had to be separated. The children love their grandparents as well. So the best option would be for me to leave this house, but leave the children so they can live with my parents. If the wife who takes care of the children live with my parents, we can save on living expenses as well, right? If that's the case, then I don't have to pay for living expenses or child support, right? And plus, if she looks after my parents as well, I'll be happy with my girlfriend. My wife will be happy with her children and grandparents. So everyone will be happy. He's totally gone insane! I'm going to leave this house with the children and live with just the three of us.
Please, don't do that!
We argued for a while. My husband didn't give up, and in the end...
If you're leaving the house, I won't give you any of my assets!
He yelled. Right after he said that, the children came back from cram school and my in-laws came back from their meeting for elderly people. So we decided to have an emergency family meeting. As for my in-laws, they were delighted for the idea of me staying, taking care of the children and doing the chores. But as for the children...
I'm shocked about the divorce, but Dad seems like he likes our cousins more than us. And plus, Grandpa and Grandma wouldn't really play with us either. Yeah, it's exactly as Sis says. And I also don't like Grandma who bullies Mom, so I don't want to live with her.
Thankfully, they were on my side. After my in-laws heard this, they became flustered. The older daughter was especially mad about how my husband was having an affair while not taking care of the family at all.
To leave us and go to another woman's place? You're not my father. I hate my grandparents who side with Father too. I'd never want to live with them.
In the past, My husband had routinely broken promises to our children without ever getting between me and my in-laws. When our children's open house or sports day coincided with the cousins, he'd always go to the cousins, not showing affection to his own children. Even seeing my husband act like this, my mother-in-law said nothing and would go as far to saying, "Since Miss Teresa is like this, it's no surprise that our son would want to get a new girlfriend," and would bully me in front of the children. Although, years of friction with my in-laws led to this outcome.
If you're like that, I have no choice but to leave, so be prepared!
Both my husband and my in-laws, they would say things as if they had control over the situation. Very well then. After that, my husband and in-laws brought over a lawyer.
If you want to apologize, now is the time to do it. Well, even if you do, I won't pay a single penny for the consolation fee, though. And I'll get custody of the kids, too.
As for me, you have no chance to win. That's what I was thinking, and I just wanted to get over this mess quickly. So I decided to hire a lawyer.
It's easy when you have all these things against them.
That's what my lawyer said while laughing. The lawyer that my husband hired learned the truth as well and said,
If you go to court, you'll most likely lose.
She seemed fed up with my husband as well. Apparently, he didn't tell his lawyer the truth. In the end, his affair partner said,
We'll be able to do something about the money if we both work hard. So leave your wife and let's live together already.
With that, the divorce went smoothly. And so, my husband paid me $3,000 in alimony for the affair, $7 million in child support, and my share of the asset. Of course, my husband didn't have that much money. So by making the affair partner and my husband live together with the in-laws settled on a deal that they would shoulder the alimony and other fees. They didn't realize that this was the beginning of their disaster. My in-laws, husband, and the affair partner thought that they only had to pay for my husband's compensation fee, but that's totally not the case. I asked the affair partner for $3,000 in compensation fee as well. But to begin with, the affair partner only got close to my husband because of his money. Although my husband wasn't that highly paid, she thought if she kicked me out, a stay-at-home wife, she'd be able to become a stay-home wife. On top of that, she even had debt. As for me, I didn't become a stay-at-home wife because I wanted to. When it was decided that I had to live with the in-laws, they made me quit my job as a housekeeper. But because of the divorce, my husband as well as the in-laws used up most of their money. So they had no money left to cover up or aid the affair partner's compensation fee. So my husband...
Let's work together and pay the fee! If we work together, we'd definitely be able to pay everything!
This is not what I heard. Why are you making me work even though your ex-wife was a stay-at-home wife? If you keep saying that, I'm not going to marry you. Who'd want to marry some old guy who doesn't even have money? I can't believe this.
She exploded with anger and left the house. But my husband, who had to deal with so much trouble, didn't let her go. He caught the affair partner and made her work until she could pay for her share of consolation fees, as well as her debts she originally had. And even after work, she had to deal with household chores and my in-laws. As for me, I got custody of my children of their own free will. And I was happy that everything went smoothly thanks to my husband, who was crazy. Then, 2 years later, I received a call from my ex-husband. It seemed that the affair partner couldn't take it anymore and had disappeared.
Teresa, you can come back anytime with the children!
Sure, I'll come back with the children whenever we feel like it. As if I'd ever say that.
A few years into our marriage, I got pregnant, and I told my husband that I couldn't make love to him during my pregnancy. As a result, he found himself a lover and used all our savings on her. I found out about his affair when I saw that all of our savings were gone. I was devastated because the only reason that I couldn't please my husband was because I was pregnant with our child. I couldn't believe that he had used all of our savings for his lover, when we could have used the money for our first child. I know that my pregnancy didn't prohibit me from making love to my husband, but I wanted to be extra careful. The reason why I wanted to be so careful was because I had a miscarriage in the past, and I didn't want to do anything to risk my current pregnancy. When I got pregnant for the first time, I was elated, but for my husband, things were different. The pregnancy didn't change him at all, and he wanted to make love to me every night in the same way that he had been doing before I was pregnant. When I told him that we shouldn't sleep with each other until my pregnancy reached the stable period, he was upset with me and forced me to sleep with him. In his eyes, it was okay for him to make me sleep with him against my will because we were married. After he was done, my stomach started to hurt, and I had a miscarriage as a result. During the act, I asked him to stop many times, but he kept going. I can't say that it was the fact that we slept together that caused my miscarriage, because I know the miscarriages happen for various reasons. But now that I was pregnant for the second time, I didn't want to risk losing the baby, so I didn't allow him to sleep with me no matter what. Because of this, I was now in the stable period of my pregnancy. I was very happy, until I happened to check our bank account and see that it was empty. I asked my husband what he had done with our money. All our savings are gone. Also, are you having an affair?
You had no right to be angry with me. You wouldn't sleep with me, so I had to go find pleasure elsewhere. I'm your husband. You should attend to my needs too. You had no right to say no to me like you did.
Don't you remember what happened the last time that I was pregnant? We wouldn't stop and I had a miscarriage because of my stomach ache.
I never asked for a baby. You're the one that wanted to have a baby.
I was at a loss at what to say, and really disappointed in my husband for acting so selfish. How could he be so cruel to me? In the past, when we were dating, I asked him to use contraception and he wouldn't. That doesn't make it okay for you to have an affair.
Well, I used up all our savings from the stress of you rejecting me, so I don't see why we should stay married. I want a divorce.
Why'd you make it sound like it was my fault? I saved up that money for our baby. I can't believe that you used it to have an affair. I expect you to pay me back.
Why should I? I didn't ask you to get pregnant and spend money on children. This is your fault. I hope that you have another miscarriage.
My husband then shoved me, and I hit my back on the dining table. I crouched down in pain.
If you lose the baby now, you won't be able to blame me for anything. If you don't have a baby, you won't be so desperate for money.
My husband then left the house. My stomach is hurting again. I called an ambulance and fainted while waiting for it to arrive. The next time I woke up, I was on a hospital bed. What happened to my baby? I was scared of losing my baby, because the same thing had happened to me before. The nurse in the room said to me, "Your baby is doing just fine. There's no need for you to worry." I'm so relieved. We tried to get in touch with your husband, but we couldn't reach him, so we had to call your parents. I didn't expect my husband to pick up the phone. After all, he was the one who injured me. Soon after, my parents arrived at the hospital. "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm okay. Thank you for coming." I was so worried when the hospital called us. I got in touch with your in-laws too because it seemed like an emergency. Oh, really? I wonder if they are coming here. My in-laws lived far away, so I hadn't seen them much since I got married to their son. They're on their way now. They were very concerned because you had a miscarriage before. My in-laws arrived to the hospital the following day. "Sarah, how are you feeling?" "I'm okay now, thank you." "I wonder why this keeps on happening to you. You seem a little pale. Do you have anemia?" My in-laws seemed very concerned for me. I wanted to tell them the truth, but I wasn't sure that it was the right thing to do. but I was sure that I didn't want to stay married to their son any longer. So I took the courage and told them about what he had done to me. My father-in-law was furious what he had learned, what his son had done.
This is unforgivable. He needs to be punished.
Sarah, we are so sorry that our son put you through this. I didn't know how they would react, so when they were very sympathetic, I cried tears of relief. Yes, it was very tough, and I can't stay married to your son.
You're making the right decision. I'm so ashamed of my son. He does not deserve to be a father.
Sarah, all you need to worry about is having a healthy baby. Yes, thank you. After my in-laws left the hospital, they had a long chat with their son. The next day, all three of them came to the hospital with divorce papers. I asked the nurse if I could use one of the private rooms to have a conversation with my husband. I didn't want to bother the other patients while we were fighting.
You need to agree to pay alimony to Sarah after everything that you put her through. Why would I do that? I didn't want the baby in the first place. She should have taken better care of me. If she had, I wouldn't have cheated on her.
Be quiet, you fool. Because of you, Sarah had a miscarriage, and you tried to do the same thing to her again. If you had any decency, you would have done everything you could to take care of your baby. You should be ashamed of yourself. My mother-in-law slapped her son in the face, hard.
If you don't agree to pay the alimony, I'm going to make sure that our grandchildren get the inheritance, and not you. That's bullshit. I'm getting divorced, and neither she nor the unborn child is entitled to any inheritance. I don't consider you to be my son anymore. I intend to cut all ties with you. I see where this is going. Fine, then I won't get divorced then. I'll take care of the baby. Does that make everyone happy?
My husband was a jerk. He was never going to change. It seemed that my in-laws felt the same way. Let's continue the rest of our lives without our son. Does that sound okay with you?
Yes, that's fine by me. I don't know who this asshole is. Sarah, if he doesn't agree to the divorce, you could go ahead with an uncontested divorce. We can assist with the fees for the divorce lawyer. That's the least we can do for you. My money!
My husband gave up and signed the divorce papers. He agreed to pay me alimony and money to cover for the hospital fees. My husband's parents cut ties with their son, and he no longer had anywhere to live. My ex-husband had borrowed money using my name, and we were still married. But it was proven that he was the one that borrowed the money and not me. I heard a rumor that he remained homeless and had to work hard to pay his debts and pay the money that he owed me. I gave birth to a healthy boy, and I was no longer in touch with my ex-husband, but would see his parents from time to time. I ended up back at my parents' house. Whenever I'd send photos of my baby to my in-laws, they would shower him with gifts. How loving! Although my baby doesn't have a father, I'm glad that he still has his grandparents.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.